Okay, I'm down at the Sheriff's Office, room 456, September 12th, Wednesday, and I believe this is Raymond Winters. Hi, Mr. Winters, how are you?
Good, yourself?
Horrible, absolutely lousy.
All right. Mr. Jason Grant Garza, I'm Sheriff Sergeant Winters, or Sergeant Raymond Winters with the San Francisco Sheriff's Department.
Okay.
I'm here in one capacity and one capacity only. That's to take your written complaints about the San Francisco Sheriff's Department staff and San Francisco Sheriff's Department staff only.
I'm very confused. Are you reading off a prepared statement? And if so, why?
So that I don't forget to say anything.
And who was the statement prepared by? And what was the reasoning behind it?
I prepared the statement so that I don't forget to say what I want to say.
All right, please repeat it because I didn't know you were reading off a statement.
I'm here in one capacity and one capacity only. That is to take your written complaints about San Francisco Sheriff's Department staff and San Francisco Sheriff's Department staff only. You are welcome to videotape this exchange. However, I will not answer any questions unless it is general information about the complaint forms. The only two questions I will answer, however, that are not related to complaint forms are as follows. You asked who makes arrests when medical law is broken. I'm unable to answer this question as I have no further information, but if this is in reference to a patient care issue, you need to see the Ombudsman for the Department of Health Services, and they will address any issues you have there.
I'm sorry, I have to interrupt you. Does that mean that they will arrest and they have the enforcement power to arrest, or are you just sending me down a non-viable option? That is not the question that I'm asking you specifically for, so I do not want an evasionary tactic played on me in a risk management capacity.
From what you asked me over the phone, from what I understand, it sounds like a patient care issue. You're to see the Ombudsman.
No, sir. I have asked you specifically when medical law is broken, who enforces an arrest for it? Not a patient advocacy issue. The medical law and its enforcement. You are the Sheriff's Department. You arrest for the Department of Public Health and circumvent people's legal rights to their medical rights, because I have the proof of that from the emergency denial that I was provided in 2001, in which the Department of Public Health signed a confession admitting fault and guilt, and yet my legal rights to my medical care were circumvented. So that is why I'm asking you the question specifically as to who does.
I'm unable to answer this question, and I have no further information on
And when will I be able to get that information and follow up? Because this is a crucial point to this entire process, that it's rigged to fail, because those who are unaccountable are never held to account by law enforcement when they break medical law.
You're welcome to do your research into this topic.
Oh, no, sir. I'm also welcome to ask the appropriate questions to my officials and to expect a response and advocacy, considering that I am the victim here.
I have no information on this topic.
That is fine. And so then how can we escalate it so that we can get an answer? And to whom shall we escalate it in your department?
I have no information on this topic.
That's fine. Who can we escalate it to in your department who will have information in this? Who is above you? Who is your superior? And how can we escalate this for this answer so that it doesn't get left by the wayside and risk managed inappropriately once again?
Mr. Garza, I've answered your questions to the best of my ability. I have no further answer for you.
So there is no one above you that we can escalate this to? Is that what you're trying to imply by the evasion of the answer?
I'm not evading the answer.
You are, if you're not answering who is above you, to escalate the fact that you do not know the answer, and apparently aren't very helpful in trying to retrieve the answer in the escalation so that I can get the answer, which of course is denying me my advocacy.
Mr. Grant, the other issue I wanted to address was civil standbys. The San Francisco Sheriff that you requested, San Francisco Sheriff's Department refers all civil standby requests to the San Francisco Police Department.
Thank you. So I will call them when I go to 25 Van Ness to follow up on, what I'm allowed to do.
Okay. Now, if we can address your complaint form that...
Okay, remember I have other complaints that I'm filing with you too.
Yes, I remember. That's why I have
Thank you.
Multiple complaint forms. So...
What's on the first one?
The first complaint form that you submitted was the Investigative Services Unit was unable to follow up on because the form was not completed.
And why was the form not completed? Was I illegally asked to leave before I could complete the form or speak to anybody about it? I would like for the whole truth to be expressed, not just the spun truth. Why was the form not completed, and why, if it's signed and everything else by me, why did no officer or anybody come up to me to help me finish completing the form?
Based on the copy of the form I have, the first question that's not completed, you said, please describe your injury. You wrote describe injury. There's no description of your injury. The other two questions that are not answered on the front, I'm willing to sign a medical records.
That is fine, but my question
no
still
yes or
remains.
no
You
on
haven't
that.
answered my question.
I don't have any.
Who does? And who can we escalate so that I can get an answer to that? Or once again, is this something that you just cannot answer and will not answer?
I'm here to address the written complaint.
This is the written complaint. And
Yes,
this is the
and-
process which failed in addressing the written complaint when I did everything correctly. So I'd like to know, once again, and I will ask specifically once again, why was I not helped with this form if I filled it out and if I didn't do anything incorrectly? As a matter of fact, I was asked to leave by Mr. Young in violation of my civil rights for access and accommodation. And for you to now come and tell me that it's not appropriately filled when there was nobody who went over it with me, when I was following the process and the process was rigged so that it would fail, is very disingenuous.
Mr. Garza,
Mr. Winters,
I was not there. when
I
this-
was, and I have a video copy of it.
Mr. Garza, can I answer your questions, please?
Please.
I was not there when this incident occurred, so I'm not in a position to expand upon why you were not allowed to fill
Okay.
out the forms. This is your opportunity to fill out the forms.
That is fine. Now let's also get
Would
to the
you like to
opportunity
fill-
of fixing the problem, which is the process which disallowed me to fill the form. So now let's continue on the same subject that I
Mr.
asked you
Garza.
before. Since this form was not, per your liking, complete, and I was not helped, how can we escalate this failed process of which I was denied the ability to fill out this form, and it will be looked into by the AIA and the failure and the captain and everyone else so that they will know how it was rigged and set up against me so that I wouldn't fail.
Mr. Garza, I'm giving you the opportunity now to fill out the forms.
That is fine.
Completely. Would you like to take that
I
opportunity?
would like to take the
Then
opportunity.
let's do it.
Now, I'd also still like the answer to my question before I start this. My question is, who is going to look into the failed process of this form and the way it was mishandled along with my civic rights and everything else?
Our internal affairs unit will look into this, and it'll be someone.
And this is the
That
same
did
Internal
not-
Affairs unit that had me escorted out by giving me incomplete law, incorrect law, and denying me my civil rights. The unit that broke the law is going to enforce their wrongdoing. Is that your allegation?
It's not my allegation.
Is it your hope? Is it your desire?
Mr. Garza, I'm not here to answer that question. Would you like to fill out a new form?
Yes, please, and thank you for not being able to once again answer the question that was appropriately asked, once again proving that the entire process is rigged not to be helpful, not to provide advocacy, and if anything, to provide more mendacity and risk management, which is not good for the victim nor the patient seeking services. All right, right here.